this video, we're going to be mounting the headlamp assembly. It only requires a few simple hand tools. We've got an 8mm socket, a 10mm socket, and a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. There are very few fasteners. However, we are going to slow down the pace as we do this to make some inspections of the electrical connections that are behind the headlamp. That'll save us some time in the future. As you know, we always perform not just the assembly, but also the pre-delivery or pre-riding, in your case, inspections so that the motorcycle is safe and reliable. So we'll take the time to do that step by step and give you a few pointers on what to check for. The first thing that we want to do is check these electrical connections. We're going to make sure that all these plugs are securely fastened. He's also going to kind of tug gently but firmly on each of the wires to make sure that they are indeed clicked into the connectors. And even check the connector that's under the dash. We're going to make sure that's pushed up firmly into the dash. Once we've made our checks here, we're going to remove this back mounting bucket with this fastener just so we can get to the back of it. There's going to be 2 rubber grommets that this piece actually sits down in. You can see the ears are going to go down in these slots, but first he's going to put these rubber grommets in there. Now we can use that 8mm to put those 2 fasteners back. And you'll note that there is a washer on that little bolt. This one came pre-installed from the factory, just holding that bucket on loosely. And then the other's in the fastener hardware. Now we're ready to connect the headlamp. We've got to get the electrical connection plugged in. And we'll find the blink plug, match those color wires to one another. Clip that in, make sure it's fastened. And we're going to use these clips. These are nut clips. They're going to go on, slide right over the tabs of the headlamp itself. Those are going to allow us to put screws through. And we've got the screws, metal washers, and then 2 rubber washers. These are going in the side mounts of the headlamp. First the metal washer, then the rubber washer is what's going to be touching the headlamp itself. And he's using that number 2 Phillips to screw those in. And now we've got the pointed screws, machine screws, and metal washers. These are going to mount on the top of the headlamp. Now that we have the headlamp mounted, we're going to turn our attention to the triple clamps. We left these top clamps loose from the crate. We're going to make sure we put some torque on those. You're probably looking at 25 foot-pounds. And we're going to also double check the lower clamps. Now that we've got our headlamp mounted, we're going to go ahead and put the mirrors on. It only requires 1 tool. That's a 17mm wrench. You've got the locking nut on top, but first thing you're going to do is just kind of screw those down into the perches. Get them at the angle. You can jump up on the seat and kind of angle things as you want. And then you're going to lock those down with the 17. You don't have to tighten it all the way down at first. Just get it in position, and then that nut's what's going to tighten it down.